Welcome. Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami. Welcome to RVing in New England.
All right, Chris, thanks very much for joining us during the show. I didn't have the heart to ask you to work tonight. I know you've been nonstop for almost a year, certainly the last couple of weeks. You just came back from a very successful RVDA Convention Expo in Las Vegas. Tell us the overall vibe. I'm hearing some great things, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, the vibe of the show, let's just go back a little bit. Last year, everybody kept talking about how the show had a great vibe and how the industry, from both sides of the fence, from the dealer side, from the manufacturers, vendors, supplier side, banking side, everybody talked about how what a great vibe, one of the best shows they've had. Well, I was nervous as the convention committee chairman last year that it was going to have that kind of vibe, and this year I was even more nervous because how do I top that, right? How does the committee top that? Well, Bob, we did it. The vibe was off the charts. The positive comments about what a great event it is, from the networking opportunities to the sessions to the top 50, and thank you so much to RV Business partnering with us on that. The vibe is just it's amazing. The keynote speaker kicked it off phenomenally, by the way.
That's always a big highlight, and I know Wells Fargo sponsors that, and I wasn't able to make it this year, but that's always one of my favorite ones. And I always sit at the back of the room so I can be the first guy out the door to get
Yeah.
over to Wells Fargo to get my autographed copy of the book. So I've kind of broken my string, but
Yeah.
you
So,
know,
we noticed actually Karen, who is on the RVDA staff, who kind of coordinates all the sessions and the scheduling, and I work with her very closely on the keynote speaker. And she came to me while we were on the expo floor and said, "This is the longest line since 2018 when I was chairman back then for the committee." And we had picked Jason Dorsey, who was a generational kinetics guy that gave a phenomenal speech. But this line was like all his whole hour plus was taken up by the line. The line was way long. In fact, I Karen had to sneak in and grab three books for me, Ryan Horsey, and Larry Trout to make sure they put them aside for us because we were going around and thanking our sponsors and taking pictures with them, so we didn't want to miss it. But yeah, Kevin Brown was his message this year was pretty on point for what's going on in our industry. We kind of had a dip, and with the timing of the new political environment that we're in and the election being over and being able to get focused back on business and forget about all the noise outside of our industry was spot on, spot on.
that's fantastic. And there was a lot of doubt up until the election time, and I think it went the way that most people in our industry. It's very conservative, doing a great job, and I think that the dealers that I've talked to generally say December, November and December will be November and December. You can't do
That's
that,
it. Yeah.
but we're going to come out the gate really strong in the first quarter, and I think that the consumer shows will really satisfy that pent-up demand that people have had for the last 2 years, wondering which direction the country was going.
I mean, that's the vibe. That's been the general conversation at all the networking events I attended this past year at the convention. And that's another thing that dealers who don't go really should know about this event, Bob, is that the opportunities to talk with your peers and other people in the industry, meaning the manufacturers and suppliers and the banks and all that, you know, they're missing a big opportunity because the information that you gather and the conversations that you have and the things that are coming down the pipeline for the industry, this is where you find it all out. This is aside from the phenomenal sessions that the committee put together for educational purposes, that's almost become secondhand compared to the networking opportunities that you have. And I mean, right now, this week alone, I've got 3 Zoom sessions scheduled with new vendors that we found on the Expo floor that, whether we do business with them or not, but we're starting that process. And, one of them, we picked up a compliance company 2 years ago there to help keep Hemlock Hill compliant. But, I've been kind of hiccuping along the way with it, and I sat with KPA, who's a partner of RVDA, and come to find out they bought my company that I'm with, and they're gonna get us back on the straight and narrow. So just that alone, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's worth a ton of money in what potential exposure I had by not going down the compliance road the proper way. And I'm not saying we're not, I'm just saying that, I needed some help. And that was a great opportunity to sit and talk to somebody face to face rather than call on the phone and try to find all this other stuff out.
I think that's a key point, the face-to-face ability. We can always send notes and emails and text, but that gets disenfranchised. You don't get that personal connection. I always thought that the best thing about these association meetings and that networking component is that it validates your own thinking and your own posture for your company, because they're either going to be doing the same thing you're doing, or they're going to be doing it better, or they're going to be doing it worse than you. But it validates the investments and the processes and procedures that you put into your own dealership.
Bob, you're right. I mean, you've run businesses all your life, and you understand that, you don't know what you don't know, but when you make a decision, it's hard to find that validation that you made the correct decision. And sometimes, you're validated the wrong way, that you made the wrong decision in business because it costs you money. But yeah, having that warm and fuzzy that you can get from your peers in networking opportunities, again, is worth a lot of money. It really is in my book. There's no doubt.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to bring back later for a couple more sessions, Chris. Thank you very much, and I'll get back up to you in a little while.
Sounds good.
Okay, we juggled the front one.
What the heck was that?
So I said, well, you weren't there. And I said, well, let me throw Chris on, because tonight, Chris is the star tonight. But, I didn't have the heart to ask him to come on in person. He's worked so hard on the convention all year. And then he was going 7 days a week, 24 hours a day down at the convention. So let's go back to the beginning, and I'll let you do your radio voice.
Well, let's... Now that I know what's going on, it took me 3 minutes to realize that was the tape segment. But anyway, we want to welcome you to RVing in New England. My name is John DePietro. The other guy there in yellow is Bob Zagami. And this show is brought to you this week by Seacoast RVs on Route 1 in Saco, Maine. I've been our sponsor all year long. They are a crop dealer. They're a Winnebago dealer. They're an elevation dealer. And they are some of the nicest people. And if you need holiday gifts, wait a minute, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say, if you need Christmas gifts.
There you go.
Christmas gifts, then take a ride up there. It'd be nice to see the store that they have up there. Say hi to Kenny and Amanda and all the crew. And if you like dogs, they got 3 or 4 big black labs, yellow labs, white labs. There's labs all over the place.
Well, they got gifts for your dogs too. They have a section there for pet toys also, so you can wrap their gifts up. So, so today we were going to do, and we will still, and I will apologize in advance. I was going to do 3 7-minute segments with Chris, but believe it or not, it took us 2 hours to film everything because down here in Florida today we had vicious storms, and I've never seen it like this. It knocked out our internet and power 6 times in 2 hours, and usually right in the middle of trying to record another session. We probably did 7. So the 21 minutes is broken up into 2. So the next one will be a little bit longer, but it's got some great information on it. So we didn't go to the convention this year, John, but what are you hearing from your sources about, Kevin?
I'm hearing because I talked with Chad at Pete's RV. I think we have a tape with that. And you know what? It's positive stuff. Here's the thing I've said all along since 3/20, since February of 2020, when COVID started, when we were flying home from the Winnebago meetings and they were closing things down behind us. They closed down NASCAR. They closed down the NBA. They closed down all the country music festivals that were happening. And we didn't know what was going to happen to the RV world or lifestyle or whatever. But the next 2 years turned out to be record-breaking years because it was the only place you could go. So we sold record numbers of RVs, 550,000, something like that.
Okay. Just about 500,000, yeah. Yep. 2 years in a row. Yeah.
Having been in sales my whole life, the problem with having a really good week or month or year is that the next year you're up against those figures. So since the figures of 20 and 21 were so insanely abruptly changing from what the prior years were, I said, we are going to have a short-term gain for a long-term situation where it looks like we're not doing anything. But the reality is that we're just about, we're a little bit under normal, but we're on our way back. And that's what the dealers seem to think. The other thing that Chad said is that there's a lot of new product coming out, a lot of new innovative product. And you know what, whether it's in electronics, whether it's in battery power or shore power or solar power or whatever you want to call it, there are more new changes coming, and they're available at your local RV dealer.
Let's get caught up. If I'm reading this right, we got 22, I think. Man, Tim is on tonight. Uncle Bernie's out there. Uncle Bernie says, Tim, you're early. Now there he goes.
Side conversation.
Bernie. And Tim says, is there anyone in there? Yeah, we're here. Mr. Hawkey is on. Good evening, gentlemen. You know, Kevin, it's about time for you to come back on and tell us all about those Coleman trailers one of these days. Jim Conboy is here.
Talking RVs. Look at that.
Now, I did.
That. We don't know who it is, though.
Nope. Talking RVs is the new podcast by Chris Doherty and Randy Murray. And I had them as my guest on the Camper Report show this week. We'll be posting that on Friday. They've got 2 under their belt. And I didn't realize this, but they kind of modeled this after Car Talk, that if you're old enough to remember, they were on NPR for years up until about 2012. And it was 2 brothers, something Maglioli brothers, I think it was. And they talked about cars. So,
but you know, the interesting thing is that the Talking Cars guy and the Talking RVs guys, they have one thing in common. Do you know what that is?
They're smart and they know their business.
No, yeah, well, that's true. There's 2 things. They have faces for radio.
They probably won't disagree with you, Tim.
Although Chris has a new shirt on in our show that'll be out on Friday. Chris has a new shirt.
That's right. You saw that, right? And,
saw that. And a new shirt.
And he looked like he shaved just before we went live.
Yep. Yeah.
He,
Even
he,
combed his hair.
he cleaned up pretty nicely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bernie
Bernie,
says, "Hi, Bob. No sound."
well, we're all set. You didn't
Oh,
have any sound in the first couple of
well,
minutes.
the first couple, I had the mic
Yeah.
off. Ken, Estelle. Hello, Estelle. She hadn't been back for a while. You are back. Hey, if I do anything after this afternoon, if I get anything right tonight, it'll be a miracle. Special guest, Mr. Chris Andrew. You got that right, Hawkey. In all of his glory. Dante, good evening. Did you make it?
Dante's made it. Dante has made it to Florida.
That was the big question.
He
Okay.
said he had one rough ride going down with lots of side, what do you call it, crosswinds and rain and bad weather, but Dante has made it.
Ah,
But Dante and Bernie having another side conversation. Mr. Butler, good evening.
Jim Roy. Hey, guys, I'm late again. My apologies.
Sound
Tim,
is on.
here in Irving. Yeah, that was my fault on my end, guys. Yes, Bernie. Yes, Jim Cornboy. Evening all. Phil Sells on.
No
side
conversation.
but hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
But yeah, I don't know. We might be able to tell Bill to shut you off there. We could do that too.
Yeah.
You were talking about Chad. Do you want to run the video? I got it all loaded up here.
Well, if you can press the button. I mean, I did a spectacular job recording it. Let's just make sure that you can push one button and we'll get it done.
Yep.
Thanks, Bob. And hello, everyone. We have Chad Shepard with us from Pete's RV. And Pete's RV has locations that I can think of so far, at least in New England. I got Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. You go into Pennsylvania too, right, Chad? And down Virginia?
Yep, and out to Indiana.
Out in Indiana. Okay. So you just got back from Las Vegas, and we're going to break down that theory about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, because we're going to ask you what the mood was at the RVDA convention, because you read a lot of trade publications, but unless you hear them directly from the people that sell RVs, it's always good to get your input.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone out there probably 20 years. So this year, there's definitely an uptick in traffic. And usually when you see dealerships, when there's a lot of dealers in the area, it's because good things are starting to happen or they feel something is changing. And I think the market, after COVID was so good, and then we came out of COVID and it was tough for a little bit, but it's circled around now. And I think for 25, there's tons of innovation, and there is a lot of, hey, let's get back to basics from the manufacturer that's helping the dealer be more successful with the consumer. And I think that was the overall theme is we want to be your best partner. And as opposed to we want to sell the most units, it was down to, hey, we want to be your best partner.
You said something very interesting. We like to deal with the manufacturer that wants to make it easier for you to sell units by innovation, by good products, by support. You mentioned innovations. Name some right off the top of your head that come to mind. I know a lot of units are starting to have these walls that slide out and turn into decks and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a ton of that on the site. I think a lot of the stuff that I really look for is what is the manufacturer doing to make the RV easier for the customer to use and to last longer with less warranty items. And you're seeing innovation, like big companies like Jayco put on full PDI centers. You're seeing Forest River add some PDI. The manufacturer is concerned about the customer getting a better piece of usable equipment at the end of production than ever before. So it makes it easier on the dealers to provide a better experience for the customer when they come to pick it up.
Less headaches when you see a new owner come back in with a frown on his face and it's something that happened at the factory.
Yeah, we're seeing more universal door sizes for cabinets, universal equipment as far as appliances and axles and brakes and stuff like that, so that readily have available parts and can get stuff quickly if there ever is a need for it.
And parts have always been an issue, especially in those years right after COVID, where units were flying out the door, and people that were buying them may not have been buying the proper unit for their family use. But right now that things are normalized, would you say that there really is something for everyone and something available for everyone?
I think so. As prices have come down during COVID, manufacturers raised the pricing as inputs became so high, they raised their price to the dealer. Now those inputs are starting to come down, so we're seeing a monthly payment now at $149 a month, $159 a month, where last year it was $249 a month. So
And
we're making it affordable for the families again.
when you figure 149 a month, that really is the cost of a family going out to dinner one night.
Yeah, it is nowadays, that's for sure. And there's some great programs out there. I mean, some dealerships were part of it. When you buy an RV, you get some free camping for a year. So there's a lot of great reasons to go out and enjoy the RV lifestyle in the last few years.
Any new innovations coming at your centers in New England, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut?
Yeah, well, we moved our sales facility in Massachusetts up towards the stadium by Foxborough a little bit more. We'll be taking on a larger lot there to be able to display all the product we're looking for. The Connecticut store, we did have a fire there this summer that's been repaired now. So that facility is back up to 100%. And then our Vermont store up here has been pretty steady Eddie for the longest time. That was our original store. So we're that thing will just keep doing as it's been doing.
Now, what would you say to the customer who's considering, but was concerned with high interest rates? I mean, they're coming down, or it's the end of the model year. I want to wait till the next time. I mean, isn't I guess the present is really the only good time. It's the only time that we have, but it seems to be that it's easier to make a buying decision now than it was a year ago.
I would agree 100%. The banks have priced in rate drops. So the average RV loan, right? People take that out for a 10 or 12-year loan. So they're predicting lower interest rates in the future. So those are coming down much faster than housing rates. So when you go to purchase an RV, that the rates are multiple points lower than they were 18 months ago. RV prices have come down. And when you couple that with the ability to camp longer in the season, to start earlier, it's becoming back to where it used to be, where it was a really good value to own an RV.
Here we go, especially from Pete's RV.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let you play announcer for a second here. Tell us where you're located. I know the states we've already talked about, but Vermont's a big state.
Yeah, Burlington, Vermont, Hartford, Connecticut, Foxborough, Massachusetts, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia, Salem, Virginia, which is rail side of Roanoke. We're in Sherville, Indiana.
Down 81, right?
Yep. Right by Hershey, Pennsylvania, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is our Hershey store. And then we're also right on the Maryland-Pennsylvania border in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania as well, Greencastle area.
So you were optimized. Is that the right word? You were optimistic when you came. There's a new word. I just made a new verb up. You were optimized by coming back and from the visit with your colleagues.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it isn't going to be easy next year, that's for sure. Business is never easy. But if we look at the outlooks and we do things right as we should and keep inventory levels where they need to be, I think it's going to be a great time to buy an RV this year and be able to afford it a lot easier than you could last year.
There we go. Chad Shepard, Pete's RV. Chad, thank you so much for being with us. And now back to you, Mr. Zagami, with the rest of the show.
Here we go. Live and in person. That's a good report from Chad. And, we did have quite a few, not as many as you would expect from the New England area. We would have liked to have seen more, and that's why we wanted to do this show. So some of the dealers that have never gone out there realize the value of the show, which is Chris's next video. But we had people from Hemlock Hill brought 5 people. Longview had 3, Frank and Suzanne and Lexi, their daughter, who is coming along to take over the Longview RV and within the next 5 years, probably. Campers Inn had Ben Hirsch and Destiny and Jeff Hirsch and another one. They had 4, and Chad had Phil and himself. So he had 2. Sometimes you get more than that. No, Scott Silver from Cold Springs was there. Ray wasn't able to make it this year. He's in the hospital with a back problem, so we hope he gets well and gets taken care of on there. But when you compare the cost of going to RVDA, and I compare it to other industries, and I had my career in the document imaging industry, we were $2,000 a person to go to our annual conference, and this is less than $800 a person to go to the RVDA convention, and it just keeps getting better. In fact, it gets so much better that they've asked Chris to be the chairman again next year. That's 3 years in a row, and he was back in 2018 and 2019 before COVID. He did 2 stints there, so he puts together a program. It keeps getting better and better every year. And I'm going to bring up his second video, but before we do that, let's see what Amanda has to say. All right, I am with Amanda Blow, who is now coming back as the major sponsor on RVing in New England. Amanda, how you doing today?
Hi, Bob. I'm great today. Very excited to chat with you.
Yeah, how about, this is your second stint as a sponsor. Tell us why sponsoring RVing in New England is important to Seacoast RVs.
We really love sponsoring RVing in New England because we get to introduce so many new people to what we have to offer here at Seacoast RV, from park models to motorhomes to all the travel trailers, our service center. We're very fortunate to have a great staff that's more like family than anything. A lot of women in our office, which I think is really great in this industry. So it's just exciting to be able to introduce ourselves.
And you're not a stranger to it. You've been here quite a few years now since you have owned the company.
Yes,
but
yeah.
The dealership has actually been here since 1996.
That's correct, yes. And I've been here for almost 10 of those years.
Yeah. Do you know 1996 was the first year I started writing and consulting in the RV industry.
Well, look at that. It's like we were meant to be.
Tell us some of the products that you got while I scan the other side here.
Sure. So we offer a wide range of units here. So we have park models from both prep and elevation, along with new motorhomes from Winnebago and new towables from Winnebago. We're really excited to be offering all of this for everyone here.
Talk about the importance of park models. I know that's your specialty. You're one of the largest park model dealers in the country for prep and for elevation.
Yes.
You've got a tremendous background in that, but tell us about park models, who buys them, and why they like destination camping.
Sure. So park models are a wonderful thing. They're great for people who know where they want to be. If you're a seasonal somewhere, it's very turnkey. There's no real maintenance. You get to just go in and open up your home away from home, and people love that.
Super. So if this is their first time meeting you and Seacoast RV, give them the credentials, the telephone, the website, and what have you.
Sure. So we're Seacoast RV. We're on Route 1 in Saco, Maine. Our phone number is 207-282-3511, and you can see us at seacoastrv.com.
And ask for Amanda Blow or Brittany or Kendra or any of the team up here at Seacoast RV. Thanks again for sponsoring the program, Amanda.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep, there we go. Did you hear that 1996 number come up again? And I mentioned that that was the first year I did any work in the RV industry in terms of writing and consulting. And we had a third time that it came up this week, kind of sadly. Pete Legal, the founder and CEO of Forest River. All of Forest River was founded in 1996 also, and he's built that empire, sold it probably about 5 or 6 years back to Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett, and they just left it alone and let Pete grow it, and they recently rebranded, changed their corporate logo, made some organizational changes at the top because Pete was very sick. Yep. And now they're prepared and ready for the future. We hate to see that.
That's the reason for the Class A, premier Class A is the Berkshire.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're actually very, very true.
Available at Longview RV, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. I'm going to fire up the second part of Chris. As I mentioned, if you joined late, I didn't have the heart to ask Chris to come on live after the work schedule that he's had for the last 2 years as conference chairman. And those weren't the 2 best years in the RV industry. And during that time, he built a new dealership, a new building, and moved the entire dealership into it. John had some videos from that a couple of weeks ago. So he was doing that, reorganizing his company and rebuilding. And so I asked him if he would do the videos. And like I said, we ran into a lot of technical problems. So this one is longer, but don't despair on us. We're coming back. And it was a great interview. And this one I have to jump through hoops because I have to show a video file. And boom, boom, boom.
While you're doing that, I'm going to tell people that in just a couple of days, I am going to be embarking on the RV venture of the year, where I'm heading to LSU for a tailgating event at one of the largest college football stadiums in the country. 102,000 people. Let me know. Nod your head when you're ready, and I'll 102,000 people fit in the stadium, but 200,000 people come to campus to tailgate. So we're going to find all about that. We're going to have video. We're going to have little previews. We'll have some Facebook Lives throughout the weekend.
All right. Let me see if I can do this without screwing up. Okay. Welcome back, Chris. I appreciate you taking a lot of time for me today. But on this section, let's talk about three things: education, training, and relationships. And of course, networking is relationship. But talk about the importance of the education and training program that your team put together this year.
Yeah, one of the focuses this year was to, well, it is every year, but more importantly this year, because the RV industry was kind of like in a downturn. We really wanted to focus on that ownership experience and that repair event cycle time and getting units, serviced quicker. So, we developed the fixed ops day specifically to be able to get more service advisors, service managers, warranty advisors, warranty administrators out to the convention so they can have the benefit of those courses that we were able to offer. And the other cool thing that the committee really focused on, as well as the staff at RVDA, was getting us higher quality speakers for those sessions, which, again, the benefit of going to the convention is if you were to hire those individual people to come to your dealership, the cost would be astronomical, and for the one cost of coming to the convention, you're getting tens of thousands, maybe in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of training and experience, in one location.
Yeah, and that's particularly true once you get down to the exhibit floor also, because a lot of those speakers are down on the floor afterwards. So if they bring in an economist to talk to you about financial trends and what have you, you go to their display 10 minutes later on the floor and you get to spend a half hour or an hour talking to the same person about dialing in on things that are specific to your dealership.
Which specifically happened to me. I was able to sit and talk with the Wells Fargo economist for, I don't know, maybe a good half hour after his session. He had, excuse me, after his session he had for one of his time slots. And yeah, when you start dialing it in, regionally or locally, they have an opinion and they have opportunity. These guys, they study it from the top down, and they give you the macroeconomic view, but it's interesting to listen to and get to know those people, because you're not going to call your banker and say, hey, can I talk to the VP in charge of economic development at your bank so you can help me plan my business for next year. It's generally not going to happen.
Yep. And I've said before, the cost, I'm not sure if a lot of the dealers understand the value of an RVDA convention, not only on the output side, but on the investment side. And I've always said that conventions and exhibition and education and training, those are investments. They're not expenses. But I've been in other industries and the convention was $2,000 a person.
Yeah.
This is really economical for what you can't measure it. I mean, if you just pay anything to go to the RVDA convention, if you don't get that money back within 90 days of going back to your dealership, then shame on you. And that may sound harsh, but I look at the program that you and your team put together and say, why wouldn't I want to be there?
I agree. I mean, for $800 investment for the convention ticket to get through the door for 3 days, well, it's really 4 days, but Friday is just a morning. It's ridiculous. I just had a trainer that we've been using for decades fly in from Atlanta, stay in a hotel, train my sales department on our selling process for 4 days, which we do religiously. And I spent more money on his flight, food, and hotel than I think I spent for myself and my brother. Well, probably not my brother, but for myself for my whole week in Vegas for hotel and the convention.
That that's amazing.
Yeah.
When-
So
when-
the cost value is ridiculously out of whack. I mean, we really should be charging more, but it's not about the money more is it's about making our industry a better place for our customers to spend their money. And that's really what we want.
And when you think of it that way also, it is such a value that smart dealers like yourself, you're going to bring, I think you said you brought 5 people this year.
Yeah.
And so that you can cover the roadmap of what they've done for you. So you had a fixed operations track, which was new this year. So Jason could spend all his time over there in his service.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, talk about the importance of that. And did you see more of our dealers bringing more people to the convention?
Well, we were up just slightly this year, which in my book is a huge win. Phil and I had a conversation early on, and we were kind of hoping if we stayed within 10% of attendance of last year, it'd be a win because the current economic headwinds that we face this year. We were up 3.5%. Winner, chicken dinner. That means that, more dealers are bringing more people. I did see, more and more dealers have fixed ops people there. Jay was there 8 o'clock in the morning with Missy and Sandy, going to their courses. Here's the thing, Bob, that people don't realize though, bringing extra people and having them go brings back a level of energy to the dealership that you cannot put a dollar figure on. Sandy came back with all kinds of energy. Missy came back with all kinds of energy and different ideas. And just forget about going to the courses, just from the people she met in the classrooms and talking with them.
Yeah. We touched on that term, fixed operations, and we have a lot of consumer fans for this show. Talk about just what that is in case they don't know. A lot of people only see the front end of a dealership.
Sure.
And I maybe in the sales department, but talk about the importance of fixed operations for any dealership.
Yeah, it's the not so pretty parts of the business, right? So you've got your parts and you've got your service, the technicians that are physically doing the work. And like in our case, we have 2 forward-facing people working in the store, and then we have an internal parts manager who just all he does is sell parts internally to work orders and sales units. That's a lot of work, right? And then we have 8 technicians out there that are all RVTI certified at at least level 1. We got some level 2s, and we got one working on a level 3. That's the fixed operations part. It's the part that keeps your RV on the road and keeps our customer satisfaction at a very high level, and that it's about that ownership experience, right? I mean, that building in back of me, that's our newest investment, and there's 16 service bays there of fixed operations to keep all these RVs out on the road.
Yeah, you had a great grand opening. It's a tremendous building, and the key thing there too is everybody's under one roof. So you've improved the workflow, which improves the business process, and it makes, again, a lot more convenient for the customer.
Absolutely. And that's the end goal. That's the end goal. And that's the other part of going to this convention that I noticed and saw is that we all are rowing the boat in the same direction. And that's that ownership experience. That's exactly what we're all talking about.
Yep. Yeah. Let's finish up with networking and relationships. That's always, I felt that if you didn't even go to a session at an RVDA convention, just sat down in the dealer lounge and talked to people and vendors all day long, you'd get your money's worth. But it also starts, in many cases, a lifelong relationship with your
Yeah.
competitors, with your peers, your suppliers, and your banks. Talk about the importance of that.
Oh, it's off the charts important. If it wasn't for this convention, I just mentioned my sales trainer that has been coming in here for a couple of decades. I would never have met Jeff, and I would never have made friends with him, and would never have had the benefit of the education in our sales department, and therefore we would never have had the great experience you have when you come buy a camper from us. And on the flip side, some partners in his business, they work on our parts and service side, right? So just that alone, meeting those guys just alone, we've become more than business partners, we've become friends. Some of my best friends in the business I met at that convention, 15, 20 years ago, and I'm still in touch with them today. I see them 3 or 4 times a year at 20 group meetings, and we talk back and forth because I don't know it all. I need somebody to bounce ideas off, especially as an owner. It's so funny. Everybody thinks the owner knows everything, and the owner only knows everything if he surrounds himself with good trained people, and everybody looks to you for answers. But who do the owners have to go look to for answers? And those are our peers. And that's one of the key elements in this convention, is that you get to meet people that you can bounce your ideas off of and validate whether or not you're making a good decision or not.
Yep. And let's talk about your people, at least 2 of them. Missy and Michelle have, in the just recent, I'll say within the last 5 years, have both been recognized by RV Pro magazine as a 40 under 40 recipient. And that's because of the atmosphere and the environment that you portray every day in the dealership. You train, you educate, you expose them to other people, and they in turn catch on to that. And
Yeah.
you can't put a price tag on that. If you're only as good as the people that sit there and talk to the customers all day long and do the things that you want them to do. And when they're trained properly, they do. And we see the achievements. You're a top 50 dealer. Congratulations. You got people, like I say, in the under 40. So close it up and tell me why you're going to be there again next year, pal.
Well, I don't know that I'll ever not be there. And next year I'm chairman of the convention committee again. They asked me to do it, and I said I'll keep serving as long as you want me to, and try to.
Is that the 3rd year?
Well, it's my 3rd year in a row. I did it in 2018 and 2019. 2020 we didn't have one. In 2021 I was chairman of RVDA, the board, so I couldn't do it then. So I did it in 22, 3, and 4, and now I'm going to do it again for 25. So
what are you going to do for an encore?
I don't know. I got some ideas, and I'm looking for some. I will tell you this: the speaker, you thought the keynoter was good this year. Wait till next year.
Okay. All right. Chris, thanks for taking the time to give us all those updates, and we'll catch up to you down the road, and appreciate it. And congratulations, because from everything I heard, it was another outstanding convention.
Thanks, Bob, and hopefully next year it works out that you can come.
I'll get back there. All right. Thanks, Chris.
Chris at
I just turned your mic on. I had a delayed mic there.
from our friend Chris at Harvest Toast. I'm Harvest Toast. I'm like Hill.
Where'd that come from?
Harvest Toast. I don't know. I'm
Can
thinking.
we get a couple more comments up here? Dante says, sounds like
Oh yeah, Dante.
sounds like Penn State football on
No,
your.
you know what? Penn State football is phenomenal. It's the last biggest one I've been to. Last big one I've been to. But this, again, 200,000 people. And we got invited to 3 major tailgates. And they said there are more RVs there than you can see. So we're going to get there at 9 o'clock in the morning, talk to the RV people. Then we're going to head over to a tailgate called Damn Strong. Damnstrong.com is the name of the tailgate. They've got their own website, and they've been doing it for 22 years. Damnstrong, DAMNSTRONG.com.
So when you say we, is Mary Beth a company?
She is coming along. I was shocked
I
that
am
she was
too.
coming.
Yeah.
Shocked that she wanted to come, but what did Kevin write? Hey, Chris Andrew, I'm glad it was taped. We didn't have to discuss our dinner in Vegas. Whatever that means.
You want me to call him up and get him back on, Kevin, in case we missed something there?
Yeah. So, Kevin, are we going to see more Coleman motorized products? Because I remember driving back from Florida last year, and I looked over, and there was a dealership. I can't remember. It was in Virginia, and
Camping World.
There was a Coleman motorized product, and you told me, Zagami, absolutely not. They don't have any Coleman motorized.
I did.
Oh, Chris is here watching himself. That's so funny. You said you didn't want to bother him to.
Well, wait, yeah, but he's probably sitting in his recliner with a beer or something stronger and doesn't want to be bothered by us right now. It's a hell of a lot easier to do it during the workday and take his due time to what do they call it? Detox or debrief from all of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have one more tape with him?
Huh? No, that was 2 for 1.
Okay, you combined the two. Okay, Coleman motorized
is handled by Thor Motors. So actually, it is by Thor Motors. Huh.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
So can they sell Coleman motorized to anybody they want? I thought you told me the first time around when I got smart after listening to DePietro, and that's a rare occasion. But I thought you told me that it was sold only by Camping World, which could still be the case. Just that
no. Camping World's a retailer.
Well, yeah, but Thor Motor Coach is a brand, and if they pick it up, but he probably doesn't get commission on it, so it's not the Coleman trailer line.
Oh.
So that may be where my confusion was.
Kevin, we know you are up close to the top of the corporate pyramid, so there's nothing that you don't know. Nothing you don't know. So, Zagami, we've got no show next week because we're going to be cooking for Thanksgiving. Okay, but we've got right after that, we've got the show season starts with the big Florida show. And look at that.
Well, I wanted to put you in the picture. I felt we didn't give you enough time tonight, so I thought I'd put you in the announcement.
The only problem is that's not me. That's a wild turkey. Those don't.
You're a domesticated turkey.
Yeah, the white one.
The white
feathers.
The ones that wind up in the pan and in the oven.
Exactly.
I don't know. So you're right. You have no
Coleman motorhomes are built by Thor and only sell to Camping World. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you can only get them at Camping World.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope he gets commissions on that. Yeah, we gotta do a show with Hawkey. Since he took that highfalutin job and now he's got an important position.
And now,
rather than just running around and taking all of his dealers to dinner.
He gets a new pair of sneakers every week. He used to get a new pair of sneakers for every show. Now he gets them every week. He has a new pair of sneakers because he's up there.
As soon as they get dirty, he throws them away.
Yep, throws them away. So if anybody needs a size...
I hope he donates them to somebody.
Well, if anybody needs a size 11 sneakers, or there's got to be a new word. They're not really called sneakers anymore. Now they're just like comfort shoes.
I suppose.
Yeah. So we'll... send us your name. Kevin, are you size 11 or something like that? Getting another message here.
Might be a 12 going on that tall body.
Yeah, that could be. So,
Kevin, I'm going to send you a new magazine. We got a new magazine down in Ave Maria.
So wait a minute. I got a magazine.
Tell Jen I'm going to send her a copy of it. Just new company, new magazine. Talks about Ave Maria and what have you. But I wasn't happy with Ave Maria today. Kevin, Chris will tell you, man, we just got knocked on our ass. There was I think six times that we tried putting things together. Of course, it always came in the middle. You know, we'd be 4 or 5 minutes into a conversation, and then the lights would flicker, the lights would go out, the internet would die, the electricity went out, the cell service went out, and got to give Chris an A plus. Number one on the content of his discussions tonight, but two for hanging in there with me. So I appreciate it very much.
Okay, so
But
Zagami,
yeah.
today I've got to find this first. Go ahead, keep talking.
Oh,
Kill
okay.
time.
No idea what you were looking there for.
Okay, I found something here that is really interesting because I was going through some old luggage stuff because I'm flying on Spirit, so I have to no luggage.
Did
So
you update your insurance policy?
Yeah, I get a parachute too. So I was going through this. I found this publication, RV.
News. Oh, that was Greg Gerber, wasn't it?
Interesting news, yeah. And I happen to open it. It's from 2008.
Yeah, that's about right.
And there is a story called "Stopping Shoppers" by. See if I can get this up here.
You're close. I know to your right and up. Is that me? Did I write for Gerber too? Man, I do so many of those. Is that me, John?
That's you.
I can't see it clear. You're not going to answer?
Yeah, it's you. It's right there.
It is. Well, you know, I write so many articles. I don't remember all of them. I don't catalog them and put them into.
Zagami is a freelance writer and consultant. He can be reached at Zagami@tiac.net.
It was that far back? What did you say? It was 2008?
From malls to restaurants, people are spending lots of money on discretionary purchases. The key is to get them into your store.
Well, I'm sure it was a good article. I wrote it.
Yeah. Get people out of the shopping malls and fancy restaurants and show them why they should spend money with you. There you go.
There you
Gerber.
go. Yeah, Greg Gerber.
Yeah. There's a couple of other people in here too, but anyway, that was interesting to find that.
All right,
And
thank you, Chris. Chris says my pleasure. It was a fun afternoon. We didn't think we were going to spend that much time with each other. But...
a fun afternoon. Chris, this is too funny that you're watching yourself. Chris, how do you think you did? Now, when you're on the show live, you don't have time for what do you call it? Self-criticalization. What's the word I'm trying to say? Checking yourself out. But Chris, how did you do? How did you do on the show? Tell us. Let us know, Chris. Anyway, so that's the story. Chris is probably off. Zagami, anything you want to say about Florida, about the RV show there? You're frozen. Oh, Bob is frozen. So it's up to me to let you know that you have been watching RVing in New England. And my name is John DePietro. Bob Zagami is with me. He's frozen right now. Now, I'm freezing. I got the heat on. I've got 2 fleeces on. He's in Florida. And I'm the one who's and he's the one who's freezing up. So he did an awesome job. Yes, that's right, Dante. He did an awesome job. And just show was great. You guys always make it easy to interview. Thank you so much. Oh, Walter said he only had a few rain showers, no severe weather. Walter, how many miles did you do at Disney yesterday, Walter Swenson? I think you had like 19,000 steps. Am I correct? I think that would take all the fun out of Disney if you had to do that many thousands of steps. But anyway, no severe. Misty here in Daytona right now. Kevin says happy Thanksgiving. Walter, 9.2 miles. Walter, what are you doing? Did you do it in one of those little carts, those little electric carts that you can rent? I'm going to get one of those. For the Florida shows, the guy and I were talking today about getting those electric carts to rent. So anyway, hey, does anybody, we just have a minute left. Does anybody have any suggestions for Southern Bayou food that I can enjoy? I will not eat alligator, and that's all I'll tell you. But I'm sure that I will find alligator on the spits of some of the barbecue places. Oh, Donna has the EV. I don't use one. Okay. So any Southern food, and have any of you all eaten alligator? So I don't know. So I think we are going to put this show to bed. We want to thank everybody for joining us. This is going to be interesting because I'm not engineering this show. And we'll see what happens when we say goodnight. But have a great Thanksgiving, everyone. See you real soon, right after that.